Hello, everyone. Angelo here, Hollywood filmmaker. I just got back from seeing The Last Temptation of Christ at the Secret Movie Club in the Arts District on 35 millimeter film. It was awesome. It was amazing. I didn't have to go to the bathroom the whole time either. Barely had to go when I came home because I just didn't drink water for like the last 5 hours. Same with Fight Club. I was able to watch the whole thing and not have to go to the bathroom until afterwards. That bathroom there gives me nightmares. Like the idea of you have to walk down like 2 flights of steps to the bathroom, and then there's no door to the bathroom. It's just like an open area, and there's 3 urinals that go to the ground. They're like it's all bunched together. That gives me nightmares about like when I have to go to the bathroom when I'm sleeping. I start having nightmares that like basically every container that will hold urine has urine in it. It's really gross. And I'm sure I'm going to have nightmares about it tonight, but I had an awesome, amazing experience at both. And then some, and it was like, emotional and great. They're two of my favorite movies. I mean, I have a lot of favorite movies, but Fight Club's like possibly number one. And I mean, they always kind of change, but Fight Club's been so influential for me. Um, it just showed me like it was when I saw that when I was 15. I was like, I didn't know a movie could do this. But anyways, here's what I was getting to think about. I don't know. It's weird. Watching movies does a lot of things to me. Like, it makes me want so much more than what the movie's offering in a way. It just makes me like, this is so amazing. I can't believe it. And yet, it's a fantasy. And I don't know. But here's the thing that was getting to me, especially in Fight Club, seeing Jack, Ed Norton's character, sleep in the Paper Street house. It reminded me of when I was homeless. Because at first I moved into this, didn't move. Oh, so horrible. This guy's basement that I met. He was a cashier at Safeway, and I met him there, and he had a few marbles loose, and he's like, "Oh, sure, you can stay at my basement." He said it'll be the best basement you've ever stayed in, probably, or something. So I thought, oh, this place must be really nice. It was unfinished. It had cat shit all around, and it smelled of it, and it smelled so bad I was worried it was going to damage my lungs. And that first night, a few hours in, I had to go sleep in my car in his driveway because it was so uncomfortable. And yeah, it was bizarre. I remember that night well, including before I went there. I went to a bar. I was hanging out there, and yeah, I was waiting for him because he wasn't answering his phone. His phone was dead. I couldn't find his house because the neighborhood he was in wasn't well lit. I couldn't see the addresses from the street, and it was one of these crappy ass neighborhoods where there's no sidewalk and nothing clearly labeled, and I couldn't figure out like which house was his, and I didn't want to slow down more and just go like house by house because I thought somebody would call the cops on me if I'm just like slowly patrolling each house. It would look so blatantly like I was trying to break in somewhere. And anyway, so seeing Ed Norton go through that process of going from his comfortable life in a condo that had to be shaken up to the Paper Street house, which was like falling apart and ready to be condemned, and um, it was leaking everywhere, and it obviously would have smelled bad, and wood was rotting, and the water was bad. The power barely worked. All that stuff about the house, it made me. Um, it made like kind of reminded me of my process of going through, living in my car. And I don't know, just something about it was a lot. And same thing with Last Temptation of Christ, just in that here are these guys telling their story, or Jesus was basically this homeless wanderer with some other guys telling his story and getting followers. And I was aware of that when I was living in my car, and I was kind of making fun of it, not just making fun of it, almost like mocking it in a way, like, oh, so people are going to follow someone who's, you know, um, bizarre, homeless drifter who's filthy and wearing rags. well, they can do it to me. And the thing is, when I was going to Catholic schools, they emphasized that, like, look, as like a point of pride for their religion, like, look how different our God is than other gods. Other gods are the, like, big, like, heroic figures. Ours, like, was just some carpenter, and he was poor, and his cousin or whoever, John the Baptist, was considered a wild man who didn't bathe, who had a long beard and long hair and had dirt, and this is what makes our God amazing, which I never understood what was so amazing about that. Like, okay, big deal. Yeah, some people are dirty. What's the big deal? And anyways, so it was always a point of like mockery for me to point out, like, I am your leader or whatever in my car. Like, well, this is like, okay, so this is what they revere, so this is what I am. I'm this wild wandering man spreading my knowledge to others. And I'm smarter than all those guys in the Bible, Jesus and Peter and Andrew and Jimmy and Kelso and all that. But anyways, it was just a bit much. And then here's the trippiest thing. When I parked 5 blocks away from my apartment, because I couldn't find parking nearby, I realized it's been months since I've like defogged the inside windows of the car, or the windshield and the back windshield, the back window, because I have like a defogger spray, like Rain-X. It's a Rain-X spray, but it's for defogging windows. And the window, they're getting kind of foggy, especially at night. It gets kind of distracting when headlights hit the windshield. They're kind of like refracting everywhere. So I wiped down the front windshield with this Rain-X stuff, but meant for defogging windshields. And then for the back windshield, I had to lower the seat, like tilt it back like this, so I could crawl across the driver's seat and reach to the back window. I didn't want to climb all the way into the back seat of the car. I just wanted to be able to crawl back on the driver's seat. And as I came back off from like cleaning the rear window, I was leaning in the driver's seat and like, oh, I could just lie here. And I've lied here hundreds of times and slept here. And I was like, man, I would like to sleep here again. I really would. Obviously, there's problems with being homeless and living in my car, but I really wanted to. I liked the quiet of it. I liked I don't like sleeping in a place where it's just the same place every night. I liked being outside. I liked that nobody, would want to mess with me, or I can't hear anything, basically. I mean, I can hear the street, but just being in your car, people generally don't approach your car. Whereas in my room, people are walking by the hall and stuff, and I know people are around. I'm domesticated, and there's still a part of me that's like sad about that. Like, I can't just do that now. And it got me thinking, like, will I ever get over that? And as far as problems go, hey, it's the least of them. It could have been 1,000 times worse living in my car, but it just made me miss that and think, man, how do I ever explain that to someone, or explain what I went through? It's a bit much. I was talking to someone a few weeks ago, and they were talking about a TV show they really like, and I was just trying, a couple times I was just hinting like, yeah, I haven't really had a chance to watch TV shows or anything, and they kept saying how great it was, and I hate, at a certain point, it's like, what I'm saying is telling me, okay, like, or the story of what really happened is telling me, okay, Angelo, you got to say what really happened, because you can't keep covering it up. It feels horrible to lie, and this person's being nice and just trying to say a TV show. So I said, well, I didn't have access to, and I didn't want to lie and say, oh, I was just so busy. I just said, yeah, well, I was homeless for a couple of years, so I didn't really have access to anything, access to, watching TV shows and stuff. And it's just a trip when I have to talk like that, I don't know, it's just bizarre. And there was nothing wrong. It was a very nice person, nice conversation, but I'm glad to say it, because it's a good thing in a way. It's like, good, I want to see if you judge me for that, or think that's weird, or just can't make good conversation, or just move on from that point. Okay, I was homeless, and that's that. or not make it like a spectacle, which that person did not. But they had their own interest in asking about it, and it was kind of like, well, geez, what am I supposed to say? Again, it sounds weird. It's like, well, how could that be a problem? You moved on, you're done. I still miss it. I still would like to do it. There are a lot of times when I think I don't care about any of this comfort or anything. I just want to be in my car because I like the independence of it. And I like how it is kind of a way of, making it clear who should I be around and who shouldn't I be around. Um, Most people were pretty cool with it. Some people, they didn't even need to know I was homeless. They just look at me, and sometimes I had like dirty clothes. One day, actually, I remember it was different for a different reason. I was painting a film set back to the original color of the house. The filmmakers rented a house that people live in, and they rent it out for movie productions. And before they shot, they painted it, and then afterwards, I painted it back, the original color. And I got some paint on my shirt. I was real sloppy. And I went to a YouTube meetup, a YouTube event, and I remember this one person there, two people actually, but one in particular. Like I would go up to everyone I could and ask about their YouTube channels and for the emails, say, hey, if we could work together or something. I swear, this one woman, she looked at me like she couldn't believe like I could even speak. And this other guy, he was like, oh, I don't give out my email. Well, I found it anyways, emailed him. He emailed me back, and he's like, oh, thanks, man, whatever. Um, I don't do that as much, or I wouldn't do that now, like asking for emails. For one thing, I realize Instagram's around, so I could just look people up, follow on that if I'm interested in seeing updates on what they're doing. But I was just always desperate, like looking for anybody who would let me work with them, get any experience, make any money. And so that's how that went. And out of hundreds and hundreds, literally hundreds of times I would do that, I think I got like, I don't know, out of in-person meetings, like one or two shoots. I know I got one. I'm trying to think if I got more than one ever. So I learned, okay, you don't need to just do that, like just throw yourself out there all the time. You just meet people, get to know them, and see who you connect with after two or three times. But anyways, yeah, it was a lot. And also, I miss being out at night. I go to sleep so early. It's like 11:30 now, and I'm gonna get up at 3:45 still, and do my laundry and clean and stuff, and exercise. But I do miss just being out doing stuff. I hate having to sleep so much. It is nice getting to experience this, and just the experience of seeing this amazing thing and being taken out of my ordinary life with Fight Club, with The Last Temptation of Christ. That was cool. Also, Secret Movie Club's planning on doing more, so that's really cool. That's something, at least something I have to look forward to for a social life. Because they're going to do more events like their own little film screenings, like open mics, they'll call it, where you could just play your short films. I'm like, oh, cool. I actually don't know if I have any short films on my channel anymore. Although Angelo's Mom, the movie, is a short film. It's like 30 minutes. That's too long for this. But maybe some other stuff. And although I don't want to slip in like a YouTube video when it's not really a short film. But that and other events they were talking about. Oh, table reads. That'll be cool. Read my scripts. So, yeah, that'll be really cool. And, just trying to stay cool about everything else and just realize, okay, well, that means I got to keep writing. Just got to stay focused on writing and eating healthy and exercise. I did more burpees when I got home before I went to see The Last Temptation. Great experience. The only negative thing about watching Fight Club and The Last Temptation of Christ in a theater was I've already seen them, so I know the story. They were so powerful. The first two times I saw Last Temptation, and so many times when I saw Fight Club. I've seen it probably 50 times. And it's interesting how now that I've seen The Last Temptation of Christ, I saw it before my latest relapse of my dissociative disorder, depersonalization, derealization disorder, and after, now that I've become even more like clear in my atheism, I don't know if it maybe had a little bit I'm just a little more jaded. It had a little less. I don't know. I just didn't like. I was more prone to like brainwashing before, whereas now I'm like, oh come on, and like I don't believe this stuff. So my mind could kind of wander a little bit in a way, but that's not fair to the movie because the movie gives you the goods and then some. Sounds like somebody's got a baseball card in their spokes, but that's a car with a surfboard on it. Also, there's the moon. Wait, where's the moon? There. Moon looks big out here. So anyway, still a great story, but it's being that Christianity doesn't have the same grip on me as it did when before my last relapse. We're still always teetering in my mind in a way. I don't know, maybe it had more of an effect, but also watching with an audience, it's just a different experience. Sometimes it's a lot of times it can be to the benefit of the movie, sometimes somewhat to the detriment, in that I don't know, when I'm watching by myself, there's something I like about both experiences, where I love watching it with an audience, but also sometimes I love watching it by myself, and I feel less inhibited in what I can feel, because I'm like, oh, nobody else is here, and I don't sense their energy, whether I can sense, whether people are bored or not liking it or whatever. So anyways, they were into it. They clapped at the end of it. And it was funny. It's like, what choice did we have? It was such an experience. To not clap, it would have been like denying the obvious thing. And I got my LEDs here. So anyways, I'm going to get my 4 hours of sleep, less than that, and get up, do my routine, and yeah, just keep pushing. Recovering from from my relapse. I'm still recovering from it almost 2 years later. I had my relapse November 2019, on like the day before Thanksgiving 2019. But I'm much better overall, and just got to keep going forward in my recovery. But yeah, I miss being homeless. Today, a day like today, I just miss it. Something about watching movies, it just pulls that out of me, because I don't know, it's almost like you know relapsing on like an addiction. Like, I love movies, I love watching them, but it's just I crave more and more, and no matter how much you get, there's never enough in a way. And I don't know, it just makes me think, oh, I wish I could be homeless, but then when I'm homeless, I wish I could have a home. And no matter what, it's like I don't really belong in a home. And then I was thinking, well, how do I ever explain this to someone? If like I said, I was explaining to someone the other week that, yeah, I was homeless for a while, so I couldn't really watch any TV shows. And it's funny, the thing they said was, wow, that's really dark. Like, they were really like into it in a way. Not bad at all. They're a very, very nice person. But yeah, I couldn't hide it at that point, and that's why, like, I'm glad I went homeless, because it's like, oh, good, I can almost like just confront people with this, just show them it like a card, and say, oh, is this okay with you? If not, all right, move on. So I'm glad, even though it's always kind of like kind of weary for me to bring it up. I don't tell most people I meet. Um, and I totally get that. It's hard for a lot of people to understand. And maybe that just means they're not the person for me to talk to. Which was not the case with this person I was talking to. I'm just saying, um, if it's really bothersome to me. Anyway, it's just something to get through, a new challenge. So I keep looking at this yellow light flashing in my neighborhood. Show it and show. Ooh, that's a cool shot. Wait, I gotta get this. How do I not get my hand in the shot? Whoop. I'm taking pictures. I can take a picture while I'm filming. So I get a screenshot. But can you see it? Yellow flashing light of a car. Yeah, and it's flashing against the building too, so I keep getting distracted by that. It's pretty cool. coat. Oh well. Anyways, I'm gonna get going. Thanks for and well, I should say, okay, so how do I deal with it? Get up early, eat well, which I didn't eat that well today. Exercise hard, and write a lot, and stay off social media. It's like just bad for my brain. So, anyways, that's what I do. And just and just kind of go through this knowing like I'm just gonna go through it. It happens sometimes, and maybe I'll get lucky and I will be homeless again, and sleep in my car. 'Cause right now it's like it's almost like I need it, like it's like you know, like I need a fix, I need to sleep in my car. I just miss it. I do like that experience a lot. Anyways. Oh, and I'm wearing my Harold Lloyd shirt. Thanks for watching, everyone.